Here.
Longo?
Here.
Nattari?
Here.
Robel?
Here.
Strumelberg?
Present.
Mayor Kimball?
Pledge allegiance, and please after the pledge of allegiance, would you kindly remain standing? Consider mourning the death of those 9 people in North Carolina that were killed by a racist murderer. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Sunshine notice.
Notice of this meeting will be given to the press and the public in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law.
Go to the minutes.
Notice by the
Report of the manager.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, members of the public, we have road work taking place on Jerome Street scheduled to begin on Monday next week. It was previously scheduled for 2 weeks ago, but when we became aware of the fact that Essex County was going to be paving Union Avenue as well as Belleville Avenue at the same time, we contacted the contractor and halted that as not to cause chaos with having 3 major roadways in town under construction at the same time. So currently the engineer has described to me that they will begin milling on Jerome on Monday. Milling and paving should continue for 3 days. All the crosswalks have been completed at this point in time on Jerome, and then they'll do the paving. With any hope by this time next Friday, that project will be completed, weather permitting. Friendly House parking lot at this point in time has been prepped and paved. Fencing will begin on that property. That should complete all the exterior work on that property so that we can go forward and obtain the necessary certificate of occupancy so we can occupy the building. In addition to the road work, regulator work took place today of Milton. We had some issues with the regulators, the water pressure monitoring. Parts became readily available. We received them this morning after some delays. As a result of the new regulators, we hope to have greater water pressure in the neighborhood, more constant with less water main breaks. The new generator at the senior building is installed. It was not without problem or conflict. When public service disconnected power on the building, unfortunately, when they re-energized the building, there was a surge of power. Their engineer is exploring the cause of the surge. 2 of the air conditioning condensing units were blown as a result of that. So I've been in contact with public service representatives as well as the contractor who installed the generators to find out who's the responsible party, because the new condensing units are going to cost us quite a bit of money, and I don't believe it should be our problem. I'll update you on the progress of that. Nothing else to report at this time.
Kevin?
No,
I would like an update on the firehouse, where we are with that, the Silver Lake Firehouse. The hotel that's been on Heckle Street for a couple of months, that nothing, in my opinion, has been done. They're in and out. The homeowner that owns that is probably making money hand over fist and just allowing it on the block. I have not looked at the Soho Sitting Park today, but the weeds were out of control again. The trucks on Belmont Avenue, that there's trucks with gasoline in it, and I'd like to know when they're going to be, done there, when they're going to be off the property, or when they're going in front of the zoning or the planning or whatever board. Also, Wallace Street, we're waiting for that to be paved. Lawrence Street, paved. Belmont Avenue, paved. Eugene Place. So I'd like an update on that, Mr. Esposito. Thank you.
With regards to the paving projects, I'll have to get the data on the paving as to when those streets are scheduled for paving from Mr. Hertz, the engineer. With respect to the alleged hotel, that was subject to a police investigation. The results was that the Detective Bureau determined that there was no violation of any laws in the police department, and they forwarded an investigation over to code enforcement. At this point in time, letters have been written by the code enforcement official. We're waiting for a response. If they do not respond, They will issue violation notices and attempt to get the property owner into court. With regards to the trucking property, there is a hearing on Belmont Avenue. There is a hearing scheduled on June 14th for that particular property.
June 14th?
June 14th. I'm sorry, July 14th. July 14th. July 14th.
Okay, and on the hotel, I mean, it's really hindering all the people on that block because the end of that block on Franklin Street is cut off there. And there's no parking for the residents that are paying these taxes. And this man is making money hand over fist, but only paying a certain amount of taxes. You know, it's going on and on and on, and every Friday, vans show up there with people just coming out, going in and out, and they're having a gay old time. Maybe I can present an ordinance. If hotels are not allowed,
I think a solution would be to prepare an ordinance to restrict the usage of single-family or 2, 3, and 4 families to anything but that usage. If it's
Okay.
being used and operated as a day rental, I suppose that we would have to explore that legally, and the council will have to make a determination on it.
okay, thank you.
Kevin, would you like to say, do you think it's possible, if there's not a police problem, we bring a construction code official in at night, a couple nights, see if they can determine if there's any violations?
That would probably assist in that investigation, because if they're working the evening hours and they're able to notice the events taking place in the evening hours, they should be able to write a violation.
Don't we have to ordinance how many people can live in a house?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
put the cameras?
Mr. Mayor, what I don't understand is, there's 15 people in there, so that's overcrowded.
I know that's a healthy problem violation.
Yeah,
Well, code enforcement zoning rules would also
Okay.
fall
Yeah.
under, so if we have.
whatever we can do to help
We'll try
it.
to bring him in,
If we have an inspector from the construction department and zoning department go out after hours, they should be able to obtain access to the building and issue a violation notice.
Yeah, the police department did a thorough investigation, it was wonderful, but there's nothing illegal
I
on
know
that.
this is a weekend holiday coming up, so I think we'll put it off to the following weekend. Okay?
We put the cameras in too?
There's a camera there,
Yeah.
but what's happening, they're not doing really anything wrong, but living in and
Can't tell.
out. Yeah.
Can't tell.
John?
Kevin, on Myrtle Avenue, they're bigger than potholes, are these gigantic holes right in the middle of the street as you come in from Union Avenue, if that could be taken care of, it's Myrtle Avenue. That's all I have.
Joe?
Yeah, Ken, I just want to thank you for, I was at the Friendly House the other day with the contractor, and they put in those 2 dry well storm chambers. So I want to say thank you for giving that message for us.
Thank you.
Excuse me, what's a dry well?
For drainage, for
Oh,
drainage.
okay.
So the water doesn't go back on the site.
Oh, very good. And what about all the damage that's to that air conditioning unit?
Well, I don't think we should fix it until the fence is up,
Okay,
because then they might just do it again.
all right.
So,
Continental valves that they were going to fix, and we do that, do you have any time frame on that? I know they were thinking about, they got some of the stuff.
Parts were received, hopefully by the end of this week. And that's not going to affect pressure. The water
No,
pressure.
But at least
Yeah.
that, because it needs to be repaid too, so it's getting worse. The last one was Franklin Avenue, between Jerome and Belleville. Can we get like a feedback from the county as to when and if they can pay that, please?
I did alert them on 2 occasions when he brought it to my attention. They were able to do the Belleville Avenue and Union Avenue projects as a result of money that they had left over in their budget. They weren't even scheduled to do those 2 roadways this year. So I will once again, maybe I'll make a formal written request.
Yeah, especially between those 2 spots, I guess the traffic from Essex Park isn't very much.
I'm sure I could get them to patch it at least at the very minimum.
Okay, I'm good.
Communications, thanks, Dave.
Communications A, resolution received from the Township of Belleville Planning Board entitled Resolution of the Planning Board of the Township of Belleville in the County of Essex, State of New Jersey, authorizing a preliminary investigation of certain parcels located in the proximity of Drummond Street and Portland Street, specifically Block 8902, Lot 1, and Block 10 and Lot 11, as an area in need of redevelopment.
Accepted? Make a motion, we accept?
Second?
Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes. Ordinances,
Ordinances for public
Public
hearing
hearing.
and second final reading. Ordinance number one for public hearing. Bond ordinance amending certain authorizations in various prior bond ordinances and transferring and reauthorizing $74,856.97 of such authorization not needed for their original purposes in order to provide for the acquisition of utility vehicles in and by the Township of Belleville and County of Essex.
Make a motion, open it for public hearing.
Second.
clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Make a motion, close public hearing.
Second.
Move for final adoption.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. Ordinance number two for public hearing, an ordinance of the Township of Belleville amending Chapter 4, Section 18 of the codified ordinances of the Township of Belleville entitled Operation of Dealers in Second-Hand Gold, Silver, and Jewelry.
Make a motion, open it for public hearing.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Make a motion, close public hearing, move for final adoption.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Ordinance number three for public hearing, an ordinance to amend the revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Chapter 2-10, entitled Department of Police.
Make a motion, open it for public hearing.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes. Sir?
Background, Jeff Mattingly, 56 Walnut. Background on this? Substantial changes?
The police department's going for certifications. This is one of the rules and regulations that they have to put in to allow the chief to create the discipline for the police department.
Thanks.
Make a motion, close public hearing, move for
Second.
final adoption.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Ordinance is approved. Ordinance number four for public hearing, an ordinance of the Township of Belleville amending Chapter 2.8-4, adding paragraph C authorizing pre-existing uses.
Make a motion, move it for, make a motion, open it for public hearing.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes. Mr. Freeman, call.
Yes, can you tell me what you're doing with this ordinance?
I think what we're trying to do is to.
It's for the building inspector to go look at 2, 3, 4 families, and if they're already pre-existing, he can make the determination if they're pre-existing already or if they're not. If it's pre-existing, he can approve the CO. If not, they have to go in front of the zoning board for a CO.
Well, I respectfully say that you have no power to do that. And it's not my opinion, I'll be quoting from the New Jersey Zoning and Land Use Administration, section 11-2.1. And basically, I don't want to read all the legal gobbledygook. Basically, when you change a zone, which makes an existing use non-conforming, the building inspector, the code official has 1 year, if you apply to him, to make a determination. However, after that 1 year, it can only go to the zoning board. You have no power to give the code official. Now, our zoning ordinance was in 1955, and it's amended from all the amendments. That 1 year is long gone. So you can't give this power to the construction official, and there's several cases, the good attorney, Mr. Murphy, if he would read them and all that, but basically it says that if it goes beyond that 1 year after the zoning ordinance was changed, the the administrator's office decision has no effect, and such application must be to the zoning board of adjustment. And they give several cases, Cronin versus Township Committee, et cetera, et cetera. So you can't do this. Number one, as he said, he'll investigate. You're talking one man, you're giving all that power to. You got 7 men and a couple of alternates on the zoning board who do a much more in-depth investigation to see if it's a legitimate application and to see it. So legally you can't do it, but even morally and practically, you can't take the power away from the zoning board, which they have by law, and give it to one person. And he's got enough duties. So if you're unsure, I suggest you table it because you're wrong on
Tom,
this.
did you look at this thing?
I'm familiar with this section that you're citing. I'm not going to make a further comment at this time, Mayor.
Should we table
I'm
it?
sorry?
Should we table it?
You should table it. Here's the difficulty. There are some circumstances in the township where people, maybe for more than 75 or 80 years, have a home that is clearly multiple family. They've been paying taxes on it all these years. Tax bills that were forwarded to them by the township, tax bills describing the property as 2- and 3-family properties. And when they've gone to try to sell the property, they haven't been able to get COs. And you're correct about that aspect of the law, Mr. Frantantoni, but it has worked in several, I'm thinking of one, on several occasions to operate as extreme hardships on the property owners, which essentially is the fault of the township. Now, should they have made an application within 1 year? You're probably right. But I do know of a transaction that was that someone lost because of this, and I think that was. I actually think this is a good idea, but on legal term, in my capacity, it does belong on the table. The problem is now that once you have an ordinance that is not acted upon by a governing body before a reorg, everything goes off the table. So,
Jerry, do you have any, Jerry, as a zoning board chairman, do you have any information on this at all?
The only thing I could tell you is that I researched this thoroughly. And if you all read the section of the book that he's addressing, technically you don't have jurisdiction because of one reason and only one reason only. That is, you're creating an ordinance to supersede a state statute, and I don't believe legally you could do that. Now, I'll tell you something else. There's been a number of people that come before us. They can't afford an attorney. If the facts are exactly as Mr. Murphy mentioned, we walk them right through it and we get done in 10, 15 minutes. Now, I asked Mr. DiLorenzo one time, because he brought evidence that was conclusive. House was built in 1930, always taxed as a 3-family or a 2-family, whatever it was. And I said, well, Frank, if this came to you, why is it before us? And he said, by state statute, if anything happens that creates it illegal in a zone, if they don't apply to me within 1 year, it's out of my hands. It has to come before the zoning board, by state statute. I researched that because I thought it was a waste of time, because we get a lot of these cases. We have 3 on for this Thursday, and we have 2 on, I believe, for August already. To me, it takes up time, but if a case is clear, cut and dry, 15, 20 minutes, the case is done. And it's approved, usually unanimously.
I think why Councilman Kennedy tries to put this on is because people have been trying to sell their house, and it's being held up because...
That's because their attorney doesn't start the procedure early enough to look for a CO. If he started the
Why should
procedure
people have
early
to
enough,
suffer?
they would have enough time.
Why
I
should
mean,
people-
we take
Jerry,
this, go ahead.
Jeff.
Why should people have to suffer because the zoning board doesn't have records from 1940 back?
You're 100, no, wait, that's not the story. Has nothing to do with the zoning board records. It has to do with the town records, not the zoning board, number one. And number two, the records should show everything clear. The problem is when the zoning law changes, or whatever zoning law gets made, that makes that property illegal in that zone, if they don't apply to the town construction code official within 1 year, it then comes out of his hands by state statute.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with the zoning board.
All right.
That's all it is.
Just
As a
as,
matter of fact, I'll give you an example, which is in
No,
this
that's
law.
okay, Jerry, that's
You got
enough,
it.
that's
You
enough.
got it.
We're talking to tomorrow.
All right. No, I'll give you a perfect
Okay, Mr.
example.
Frankie,
you know, I hope you did, because
Motion to table.
as a follow-up to that, I just about go to all the meetings and all, and there's cases where it's been proved, people build things, alter their places without permits, in relatively recent, we're not going back in ancient history. And then when they get caught, then they ask for, you know, an exception. So please table it, and
So we have to do two things, we have to close public hearing and table.
Close it and table it.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Clerk call roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Motion to table.
Second.
Clerk call roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
No.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Ordinance is tabled.
Only because it's illegal in itself as a state statute. It's the only reason I'm voting.
Ordinance number 5 for public hearing, an ordinance to amend the revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Chapter 8-16, handicap parking spaces.
Make a motion open for public hearing.
Second.
Clerk call roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Make a motion to close public hearing and adopt.
Second.
Clerk call roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Ordinance is approved. Ordinance number 6 for public hearing. An ordinance of the Township of Belleville, amending Chapter 2, Section 3, Office of the Manager.
Make a motion open it for public hearing.
Second.
Clerk call roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
How so? Amending the office?
Kev, you want to address this?
Just to establish the Business Advisory Council. That's the only amendment.
It's also open. Gotcha. Thank you.
Make a motion to close public hearing and adopt.
Second.
Clerk call roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
The ordinance is approved. Ordinance number 7 for public hearing. An ordinance to amend and revise general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Chapter 8-8 designated loading zones.
Make a motion open it for public hearing.
Second.
Clerk call roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Make a motion close public hearing and move to
wait,
adopt.
one more, you know,
Oh, well, that's wrong.
Who has the
between Academy and Cortlandt Streets, they're not parallel.
Yes.
So where is the zoning, where is this place?
Sure.
Why is it more wide
It's
factory?
Cortlandt Street.
The what?
The corrugated box factory on Cortlandt Street, where they have the tower there, across from the park.
Right.
The problem that we're having there is that when they load and unload, they've been jumping our curb, and it's a danger. So we're gonna put a guardrail up in front of the new open park, which hasn't had a grand opening yet.
I agree, but then it should read between Academy and Home,
Yes.
Yeah, it's between the academy.
right? It's on Cortlandt,
Yeah.
Correct.
between Academy and Home.
Yeah, not for it.
I guess we can amend, no? Okay.
Members coming?
Ordinance number 2.
It says between Academy and Cortlandt. It's on corporate.
No, it's already been published.
Happened to me at home.
Make a motion table.
Second.
Quick call.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes,
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Make a motion to open public participation.
Second.
Quick call.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Phyllis Frank Antoni on Prospect Avenue. School's out, and still, maybe by September, the lights that are on Home Street for number 8 school, maybe we can get them in working order. Union Avenue, I'm sorry. They're not working, they haven't been working for quite a while, so maybe by September, we can have them working. The blinking lights.
We hope we get them fixed and they stay working.
Yeah,
I pass there every morning at about 6:45, and they're on.
at 9 o'clock they're not. So I don't know if the timer's messed up or anything like that, so if you can check that out. And I have another thing I'd like to bring up. That vehicle we got from the military, I see it was moved up to, more to the curb, and it has flat tire. And is it gonna wreck the rim on the truck?
I'll check into it.
And I want to submit these pictures. North Arlington has the same exact truck, working order, ready to go. You can see it. And ours is, I can't say much about ours. It's painted, it's ready to go, tires are up. And it's not that I go looking for these things. I happened to pass it, I saw it, and I said, I gotta take a picture
Well,
of
you
it.
do know that we did get 2 of these, and we do have one that's in absolute working order and ready to go.
Where is it?
It's parked mostly behind Town Hall.
Well, the other one's not,
Okay.
okay?
We definitely have one working and ready to go, and they use it on a routine
The mid user
basis.
for parts.
So I hope you get that one done too. Thank you.
Yeah, before I go on, are we gonna be surprised at the end of the meeting, again illegally submitting another ordinance on the new business? By the open public meetings law says it, items must be on the agenda for the public to see. Are we gonna be surprised again?
No, there's a resolution on the new business.
Well, if I speak, can you read it before the end of the meeting, before the end of the public
Want me to
hearing?
read it right now for you?
Right now, yeah.
All right. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor and municipal clerk of the Township of Belleville to execute an amended agreement between the Township of Belleville and the Firemen's Mutual Benevolent Association, Local 29.
And what is that?
It's in regards to clothing allowance that's in their
Clothing allowance.
contract. We've been going to
It's a clarification of the reimbursements clause.
the
of
reimbursement
fireman's
clause, right,
contract.
right.
Now, the other night I happened to fall upon the televised meeting of the library board, and I thank you, Mr. Kennedy, for taking them to task, asking them why they did the renovations. They never came to you, the council, not you personally, the council, as to the renovations. You're 100% correct. However, I don't know if your memory is that good to go back a couple of years, 3 years ago, when this started, right in this very room, I told you, under the law, I was Director of Parks and Public Property, they had no authority to do any renovations there. I
I've said
pleaded
that
with
many
you
times
there.
about other projects.
I said they had no authority to do it. They run the library. But public buildings, renovations, alterations, additions are only your purview. They could not do it. Now, I'm not going to belabor this, that is illegal to begin with. But one thing, you better not, and Mr. Mayor, you were on the library board and you appointed people to it.
Yes.
And I ask you when you leave here tonight, there'll still be light, hopefully, right diagonally across the street. Go look at that. Go look at Bell Security in Bloomfield, and if you want, I'll take you around. I'll show you a list of dozens of with that. I hope you don't allow that stucco, that IFAS system, Mr. Cosarelli's familiar with it, to be put over that brick face. Go look at all the mold and mildew. I gave one library director the lawsuits a list of the lawsuits that they have with that stuff. It traps the moisture between the mortar joints of the bricks, creates condensation, and you got mold and mildew. There's nothing like a brick surface. Now, if you want to do something with that top 3 feet, which is rusting, you know, that's fine. But don't you allow that stuff to be put over the bricks. We're going to be in litigation. And number one, go look at Bell Security. Kids wait on the corner, their feet, their heels are in the thing. The thing's nothing but styrofoam. But it's a real liability. Please don't let it happen. You're in charge, Mr. Mayor. You're on the board.
I'm not in charge.
Through the chair, can I ask Mr. Esposito a question? Mr. Esposito, if I have a 4,000 square feet property, you're taxing me at 4,000 square feet my land. And now you find there was an error in the tax thing, and you find I really have 6,000 square feet. Will you increase my taxes?
Sure.
Okay.
The assessment should go up, not the taxes, the assessment, and then the taxes will go up accordingly.
Thank you very much. I suggest you advise your zoning board members, because you're charging a certain parcel as for 7/10 of an acre of land. They just got a new survey, and he all of a sudden, because there's a million other violations, says, oh, I got an acre of land. So get to 30%, we could use the tax money, right?
Bring that to my attention.
All right, it was just Thursday night. They said that I got 44,000 square feet, when you say he's got 30,000 square feet. So if he's got that extra feet, let's get the loot. Resolution 11. Can I know what that's about?
Yes, I do.
Can I know the details of the settlement?
Requires a payment of $5,500 and other emoluments, which were, the township always believed that that particular individual was entitled to. It was recommended to us by both library board counsel and by the attorney from the JIF to resolve it for basically a very cheap number, just to avoid further course of litigation. There's no admission of liability whatsoever. Personally, I believe personally, I would have litigated that, but the cost to the town would have been absurd. I'm going to leave my comments right there.
Well, there's one case where he took the words out of my mouth. I want to see this. If, we're spending tons of money, everything is settled in this town. So it's all over. Everybody around town and other towns say, oh, Belleville's an issue. File litigation against them, and they'll settle. And it'll be everything good, and you'll get a nice pocket full of change. But I agree with you. Whatever it costs the taxpayers, let us teach these people lessons. Most of these cases that we've settled, and again, I know you like to sit in the clerk's office and go over old past things there. Go back and look at my 3 years in office. I had, I don't know, a dozen grievance files. Nobody won with me without a lawyer. I didn't even have a lawyer. Nobody won these grievances. I see
You
these
didn't have a
settlements.
town attorney at that?
The what?
Was no town attorney at that?
Yeah, in one meeting where I suspended somebody, he called me, I'll be at the hearing tomorrow. I said, please, stay away. I'll handle it myself.
Okay.
And I won. So let's get one of these cases. Let's go to the court. We'll win. I agree with you. I think that case you would have won. It was a frivolous lawsuit. And then we sue them and then you'll set a precedent and you'll cut down on all these employees suing us.
Well, there's another part to that, Mr. Frank Tantoni. When you have this particular number, it really doesn't make any sense for a lawyer billing frenzy to go on. It really doesn't. However, there are times when, for example, what happens is the insurance carrier, which occurred here, where they say we have X amount of dollars. The plaintiff wants to resolve it for this amount of money, and if you don't want to, that's fine. We'll give you the X amount of dollars, but we're not going to reimburse you any. We're not going to pick up your counsel fees. Hire an attorney and defend the town. So I understand where you're coming from, but this was a solid business decision as we try to
Well,
make what.
again, this was 5,500, but a couple of years ago, I asked you you wouldn't give me, you said it was a competent on another issue. I went down to Superior Court and I got it. And that wasn't 5,500. The settlement, we paid it $385,000. And there's others in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's what I'm getting at. Let's bring it and let's.
Well, when you say
bring
we
it.
paid, that might have been what the carrier paid, not the township.
Yeah, I know, but I also learned when I was off, there's such a thing, and in my own business, there's such a thing as called experience rating. So yes, the insurance company pays, but then they rate the premium, because you got so many
You
claims.
want to finish up, Mr. Van, please?
Yeah, and the final thing is, you don't have to answer me about the Mellon versus Esposito, but I really want to get under communications. The planning board, if I read it correctly, they just sent you that they're going to, does that mean a preliminary investigation? We didn't hold a public hearing at all on this matter. Do you understand what they sent you? And if so, can you explain to us?
Well, they were directed by the governing body to conduct an investigation, and I believe what they're indicating here is they retain the services of the planner to determine whether or not that is an area that's going to be designated as an area in need of redevelopment without the power of eminent domain, meaning there will be no condemnations there.
But, so just so we're clear, so they haven't done it yet?
That's what Mr. Madden is going to do. The area has not been designated, you're correct.
It hasn't been designated, and they still have to go through the process of public
That's right.
hearing and all that.
That's right.
I want that on the record, so we're clear that you understand what's going on. Thank you.
That's my understanding of that resolution.
Miss?
Carmel Fleshman, 132 Franklin Street. There was a very bad car accident the other day on the corner of Belmont and Franklin. The fire department did respond very quickly. It was not the Silver Lake Fire Department that showed up first. It was the truck probably either from Washington Avenue or Franklin. Again, I'm not saying anything about the time. Silver Lake Fire Truck showed up after. You know, Councilman Burke asked before, what is going on with the firehouse? You didn't answer the question. I listened to every word. You answered every other part of that question that she asked you. You didn't give her an update on the fire department, and I'd like an update. And I know I keep coming to these meetings every time, and I know you're tired of hearing this question from me. But it needs to be done, because again, like I said, they got there very quickly, but again, it could have been a lot worse. Because I don't know if you found out about the accident. We saw the accident. We didn't see the accident, but we saw the aftermath, okay? There was a budget truck here, a very small little blue car there, a budget truck there, 3-4 cars on the other side, okay? All it took was one spark. If it was a dry day, thank God it was pouring, because if it was a dry day and it was right on the corner of the gas station, it would have been a lot worse, okay? So that needs to be addressed. Also, the grass in the closed fire department needs to be cut again, okay? With summertime here, the weeds grow faster and things like that. That has to be taken care of, on a more regular basis. We have had more and more people coming up Magnolia Street. I know you put the speed thing there, which we appreciate because it is deterring a few people. They still race down like maniacs, but that's gonna happen. But my next door neighbor said 2 people came up Magnolia the wrong way, coming up this way onto Franklin, instead of turning onto Magnolia this way. I've seen it happen once or twice myself. I mentioned it a couple of meetings ago. And that was before the speed thing got up there. So we appreciate, like I said, I appreciate the speed thing, but I don't know what can be done, if anything, about that. And was that it?
Let's talk about the dog arrest.
Unless you want a
Oh,
police,
yeah.
unless you want a police officer on every block, there's no way we're gonna stop violations.
What I would like is, I'd like to see the police in the neighborhood more. I mean, I don't know, again, I don't know all the details, you know, about, you know, how they patrol and things like that. I rarely see police cars in the area, and I understand it's difficult. And I'm not asking for miracles, but somebody is gonna get killed, unfortunately.
You know, you're right.
You know, and thank you very much for taking care of the sign. I mean, did you have to
They
cut
broke into
down?
my car, I think I want a police officer on my street.
Right, did you
You know?
have to cut down the tree though? The sign couldn't have been moved? The tree had to be cut down? You know, thank you.
Vic?
Vic Fucci, 61 Continental. I don't know if it's still there, but there was one of those trucks behind the firehouse on Franklin a while back. I don't know if it's still there. And they paved a good portion of Belleville Avenue. But at the crosswalk by Garden Avenue, the sign, somebody pushes the button, blinks with the crosswalk itself, wasn't lighting up. Just today on the way down. So I don't know if they're sort of paved up to each side of the crosswalk, so I don't know what they did there.
They didn't disrupt the crosswalk because beneath the crosswalk, there are some underground lines that energize. Unfortunately, what happens is this past winter, due to the very severe use of salt, road salt, it probably corroded the wiring, and the wiring needs to be addressed.
Okay,
I'll have
so it
the
has nothing to do with the
engineer take a look
pavement.
at it. What's that?
It has nothing to do with the pavement. or-
No.
No, okay,
They
thanks.
didn't disrupt the pavement by that crosswalk, I'm sure you noticed that.
Yes.
Mr. Natalie?
Jeff Mattingly, 56 Walnut. First, did we get an opportunity to look into the scheduling for the ambulance and whether or not it's been, our people have been responding a lot to the senior daycare center in Washington?
I did. I have a detailed report in my office, I don't have it here with me at the moment, but I did. They have responded there, not excessively. It's not only our ambulance, it's also outside agencies as well. Unfortunately, they can't refuse a call. In many cases, it's medical transport, okay? They are going there. I'll get you a copy of the report. I have the numbers on my desk. I don't, off the top of my head, know the exact number of
They
visits.
can't refuse a non-medical emergency when it's from
Well,
a place that's doing business?
Most of the times, it's under the premise of a medical emergency when they get them. But I have a full detailed report in my office. We can sit and look at it together.
I'd like to do that, thank you. Thank you also, Councilman Kennedy, for going to the library board meeting and doing your magic, the work that you do, and asking questions. And I agree with Mr. Frantantoni wholeheartedly. I stated it too at the time. Structural foam is a major liability. 3 to 5 years down the road, you've got delaminating plaster, embedded mold underneath in your masonry products. It's a problem, and 10 years down the road, it's a big problem. It harbors and creates a damming of moisture that has to naturally transmit through the exterior of the building. That should be looked at carefully. Is anyone from the council or the manager's office meeting with the contractor, looking at progress, taking a close look at the scope of work and whether or not they've been meeting their obligations under the contract?
Okay. Well, I know the library board has their own building committee that they meet every week.
And that date has been just pushed and pushed and pushed, and now what was supposed to be next month, to me, about 3 weeks ago, has turned into
I
September.
agree with you, Mr. Manager. We want to get it done too.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that if it's our building and
I guess eventually we could throw them off and, like we did with this building at one time, or another building, and took over the contract.
well, it just seems that, I think it was said that the president of the library board meets with the contractor along with the stated architect. And when those meetings occur, I mean, it seems like a good idea that someone from the manager's office or be present and catch up to speed on what exactly is being done, the scope of work, what it's costing, the time frame, the parameters of the contract. I mean, I'm a contractor. Everything. You want a deposit? When will you be done? It lives by the schedule.
We have no say, it's an independent body.
We did go to the pre-con meeting in May. We did go to the pre-con meeting in May with the architect and the contractor to talk about the delays. They have experienced a number of delays. Railings were made that didn't comply with the design. That's one of the delays that was reported. Material delays, a lot of different delay issues that are apparently above and beyond the architect's control.
Mhm.
Can maybe we can make that part of our construction code official to go? Or one of them,
Oh, we could request the official to go.
to see that it's being done right, and,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oversight.
don't know more than I will, unless
I mean, I'd
really
be
really wants to go.
more than happy to continue to attend the pre-con meetings. I'll check and see
I
if
would-
they have a
I-
meeting scheduled for July.
I would find that, I mean, I don't want to stand and ask every month, and yet that's what I feel compelled to do. Every month, we approve the minutes of our prior meetings, and we don't have any online, we don't have any posted. Can we get our minutes and get in compliance and try and catch up to speed and have that archived information posted to our website so that we're in compliance with state law? Cable station, have we made any progress with Comcast?
Just besides sending the letter, no, I'm going to make a phone call to our representative and see if I can host a meeting in my office with him so we can get an answer for it.
That'd be great. I will ask it every meeting. So,
I have, Mr. Manning, just
yeah,
said, I have drafted a letter, I don't know how word of it got out, but the governing body is going to make a decision whether or not, for the placement of another transmittal. I don't know whether it's going to be here, the library, or the Board of Education. That's up to the governing body.
sure. Right, just getting it lined up to happen, finding somewhere to lay it out. And administrative firm, thank you. While we're on the subject, legal. Have we spent, we have had to defend the open space on the Great Lawn from parties interested in turning over that zoning, have we not?
Mayor, I'm going to advise the governing body not to respond to that.
Not to respond to it. Whether or not the township has to defend the zoning of a particular property?
I'm going to advise the governing body not to respond to that.
Okay. Moving along on the premise that we have spent money, and I understand a substantial amount of money, in defending that zoning, I would like to know why the Historic Preservation Commission has not designated that land and protected it by designating it.
Again, I'm going to request that the governing body not respond to it, but I will.
Well,
The Historic Preservation Commission, as is presently constituted, is not going to engage in a designation that would result effectively in the exercise of a power of eminent domain.
that is the result of that action.
As you're aware, this governing body did adopt a resolution to undertake the preliminary steps which has been done to acquire that property by eminent domain. But as you are also probably aware, in order to step a little bit further into the process, there has to be money on deposit in an amount sufficient to convince a judge that the effort is being made in good faith. So that's the answer to all of those, I hope.
So then we are potentially open to litigation to defend this forevermore, or it's going to be...
Well, we've litigated with the owners of that property fairly actively since about the year 2000, so while...
And that seemingly would have no end to it then?
I can't answer that. I can't answer that.
Okay. Stay tuned. The zoning board. The zoning board, when we understand this is an independent board, that this is duly authorized and the things that come before it, of course, they have to consider and weigh and vote accordingly as all duly authorized boards and their independence. But a group of concerned citizens over in the property surrounding the Calandra application to expand the use of that property pointed out several things to me over the weekend that were very distressing. And it seems to me that, once again, these are the sorts of things that come before us that we have to weigh in and judge, that sometimes are mind-blowing. You know, when I look at litigations like the library board and now, you know, with the property adjoining our parking lot, I read them and I wonder, where am I? And the Calandra application strikes me very similarly. It is such a tremendous overreach of what the existing circumstances are now and the effect that it has in the neighborhood and what was granted. And we understand that this is just in terms of the things that our boards have to deal with and our communities are radically affected by. It's sometimes just overwhelming for me. And I'm hopeful it turns out right for the residents of the neighborhood and that there's just so many things there that are questionable now, and yet it seems like they want more. So I love their bread, but I wish they'd, you know, balance their, know when they're well off, I'd like to just say. Thank you.
Make a motion, close public hearing?
Second.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Make a motion, move the consent agenda. Yep, we got both 14, number 1 and number 5.
1, 5, and 14?
Yeah.
Joe, you- 4, 5, 10, 14,
1, 5, and you said 10 also?
10, 14. Clerk will roll on the consent agenda.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Resolution number 1, just a voice vote.
So move it.
Move it.
Second.
Clerk will roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
No.
Longo?
No.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes. Number 5.
Resolution number 5. It's the resolution to issue club licenses for a period of September 18th to June 30th. But the AMVEX has a club license. How much do the club license pay?
$180.
Now, how could they be paying $180 for the license? Now, how much does a regular bar pay?
$2,500.
Now, a regular bar pays $2,500 like Bricks and those bars. He pays $180 and they're running a catering hall out of it. How can they be running a catering hall out of the tax exempt building that's only paying $180 for a liquor license? But when you go there to rent the hall with the caterer, you know, you get the booze and all. I mean, that's a ripoff to the town. They should be paying $2,500 if they're gonna run the business out of there. How they're running a catering hall out of there is an amazement to me besides that, but. I mean, what happens now if like Brooks wants to move into post 105? What?
They can't.
Why can't they?
These are 2 different licenses.
No, say they give up their license up on Franklin Avenue, say we're gonna run a restaurant out of 105, top floor. I mean, I don't understand this. I mean, they're tax exempt, they pay $180 for a liquor license, and they have a caterer working down in there.
Okay, we have the ABC from the police department. We'll have the ABC.
No, I'll prove it. I mean, it's been like that for the last 5, 6, 7 years. But it's just amazing.
I don't know if the catering is working out of there or they're working on Franklin Street. I think so. If it's gonna be checked, you might as well check it right.
Yes, it's called Truffles. It's located
No,
inside.
no, we're not talking Truffles. We're talking the one on Franklin Street, Angelo's, whatever.
No, I ain't talking about that one. I'm talking about the one on North Avenue.
That's Truffles.
Yeah. Yeah, not the one on what do you call it?
But I think it's I think it's like in conjunction with,
I'm talking about the one on North Avenue.
that's Truffle.
I'm not talking about the one on, 100 North Avenue. I'm not talking about the post. I'm talking about 100 North Avenue. They have nothing to do with the other one. All right, make a motion, we move it.
Second.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kibble?
Make a motion, move resolution number 10.
Second.
Just a quick little.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
No.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kibble?
Yes. Resolution 14.
Make a motion,
Oh,
table.
I gotta add some language to number 13.
13.
We already passed it.
I thought somebody pulled 13.
No, 14. You want to pull 13?
We already passed it.
We already passed
Yeah, but
it.
it's fine. I wanted to clarify that all monies obtained,
Okay.
go to the township.
Okay.
So the language that I will be submitting along with that resolution, the resolution is fine as it is for the appointment, but to clarify it, all monies so awarded against Mr. Melham shall become the property of the township of Belleville.
Make a motion, move, table 14.
Second.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kibble?
Reorganization resolutions.
Make a motion, move the consent agenda.
Second.
I'm going to get any.
Can you roll call, please?
No.
So you want to go on the consent?
Fourth count.
Four?
Four.
Number 4.
Anybody?
Okay. Is that it?
Clerk will roll on it.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kibble?
Make a resolution, make a motion, to move resolution 4.
Second. Just a vote.
Clerk will roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Take up.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kibble?
Yes. New business, anybody?
Resolution authorizing the mayor and municipal clerk of the Township of Belleville to execute and amend the agreement between the Township of Belleville and the Firemen's Mutual Benefit Association, Local 29. Move it.
Second.
Clerk will roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kibble?
Maria, anything?
New business, yeah, I just have a couple of things. Some time ago, Mr. Esposito, I asked you to take care of the street signs that were missing in Soho section, and they were all done, and thank you. Now, on North Avenue, all the side streets, the trees are blocking all the side streets, so it's very difficult to know what street you're on, if you're not familiar with it. So you can instruct Public Works to cut the trees. Thank you.
Steve?
Yeah, really, real quick. Just prayers for Officer Infusino and Werner. They were in a tremendous accident last night, and one is still in the hospital, so.
Don't forget July 4th down at the cemetery, 10 o'clock, they're having a ceremony for the Revolutionary War heroes. And tomorrow at the American Legion on Washington Avenue, they're going to try to start the block watch program back up.
Yeah, don't forget that.
That's 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
That's it. That's all I have.
Motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Aye.
Aye.